Most dog owners notice the moment their dog runs toward them. The tail, the eyes, the little body leaning into love. But they often miss the quieter moment when that same dog slowly stops coming close. Not because the love is gone, not because your dog became cold, and not because you failed them in some obvious way. Sometimes distance is not rejection. Sometimes it is a message. Today we are breaking down 7 reasons your dog may pull away, and number 7 is the one loving owners miss longest. Before we call a distant dog stubborn, cold, or upset with us, we need to slow down. To a human, a dog walking away can feel personal, like rejection, like the bond has changed. But to a dog, distance can be information. It can be a quiet signal that something in their body, their environment, or their relationship with you no longer feels clear enough. In canine welfare work, observable behavior is treated as one window into emotion and well-being. But one window is not the whole house. A single sign should not become a diagnosis. And this is why we are not here to label your dog. We are here to notice patterns with calm attention. If the change is sudden, lasts, or comes with pain, low energy, or not eating, take it seriously and speak with a veterinarian. 1. Your dog may not feel comfortable in their body. To a human, this can look like moodiness. They stop jumping onto the couch. They turn their head when you touch them. They curl up in a corner instead of resting beside you. And it is easy to think, they are ignoring me. They are being difficult. But to a dog, pulling away can be a way of protecting a body that does not feel right. This is why sudden distance should never be treated as just attitude. Observable behavior matters when we think about a dog's welfare and emotional state, but one sign alone is not enough to explain everything. Behavior problems also need to be understood through more than one lens, including both physical and psychological well-being. So do not panic, but do not dismiss it either. If distance comes with pain, low energy, refusing food, avoiding touch, or movement changes, call a veterinarian. Distance is not always rejection. Sometimes it is protection. 2. Your dog may be overwhelmed by the environment. To a human, a busy home can feel normal. Guests at the door, children running through the room, a new pet, furniture moved, a different sleeping spot, noise outside the window, small things, everyday things. But to a dog, those small things can change the entire feeling of the room. And when the world feels too loud, too close, or too unpredictable, distance can become the safest place to breathe. They may not come when you call, not because they stopped caring, but because their nervous system is asking for space. In welfare research, behavior is observed across many categories, including stress-related behavior and interactions with the surrounding environment. That means the room and the response belong together. Do not only ask, why is my dog not coming closer? Ask what changed around them first today too. A quiet dog is not always a comfortable dog. 3. Your dog may be struggling with being away from you. This is the confusing part. A dog can seem distant when you are home. Not because they need you less, but because closeness has become emotionally complicated. You're leaving, you're returning, the waiting, the uncertainty. To a human, it may look like the dog is sulking in another room. To a dog, the relationship between presence and absence can carry fear, panic, or frustration. Separation-related behavior is not one simple thing, and it should not be treated like one simple label. That matters because a distant dog is not always an independent dog. Sometimes they are trying to manage feelings they cannot explain, so do not diagnose them from one quiet evening. Watch the pattern carefully. Watch what happens before you leave, after you return, and when the house settles again, calmly and gently. Closeness can feel safe, but it can also feel uncertain. 4. Your dog may be confused by signals that keep changing. To a human, it feels obvious. Today you are invited onto the couch. Tomorrow you are pushed down. In the morning, cuddling is sweet. At night, the same closeness is annoying. One day jumping up is cute. The next day it is rude. Not because you are cruel, not because you do not love them, but because the rules keep moving. And to a dog, moving rules do not feel like love. They feel unclear. The same outside behavior can come from different inner states, including fear or frustration, so we should be careful before deciding what a dog means too quickly. Maybe they are not being distant. Maybe they are trying to avoid guessing wrong again. Dogs feel safer when the person they trust becomes readable, calm, consistent, predictable, and kind enough to understand every time. Love feels safer when it becomes predictable. 5. Your dog may have learned that silence is safer than speaking. When a dog growls, many people hear disrespect. When they bark, they hear drama. When they move away, they hear disobedience. So the dog is corrected, pulled back, told no, or pushed through the moment anyway. To a human, that can feel like control. To a dog, it can feel like their warning did not matter. And after enough moments like that, some dogs stop warning loudly. They get quieter. They create distance. Not because trust is stronger, but because communication feels useless. In welfare work, vocal sounds, stress-related behaviors, and visible reactions are part of how a dog's emotional state is observed. So those signals should not just be shut down, they should be understood early, especially if there is any serious risk of biting or aggression. Silence is not always trust. Sometimes it is a warning that communication stopped. 6. Your dog may be getting older, or their needs may be changing. To a human, it can feel heartbreaking. The dog who once jumped onto the bed now stays near the doorway. The dog who once played for ages now chooses quiet. The dog who once followed every step now rests before coming closer. It is easy to think they are pulling away, but to a dog, love does not always stay in the same shape. Sometimes the body asks for rest. Sometimes the mind asks for less pressure. Sometimes closeness needs to become softer. Welfare and behavior should be understood through more than one lens, including physical and psychological well-being. So aging should not become a simple label or excuse to ignore sudden change. Watch gently, adjust kindly. If change is fast or concerning, ask a veterinarian. Your dog may not be loving you less. They may be asking to be loved differently. 7. Your dog may not be distant because love disappeared. They may be distant because coming closer no longer feels safe. A dog can stay in the same room and feel unsure. They can lie near you and watch your hands, your voice, your mood, the space between one moment and the next. To a human, that looks calm. To a dog, it may be carefulness. Fear, panic, frustration, and stress can sit underneath behavior that looks simple from the outside, and the same situation does not land the same way for every dog. That is why we have to read the whole context, not one signal, not one turned head, not one evening alone. Your dog is not asking you to chase them. They are asking whether approaching you still feels safe. The goal is not to make your dog come closer. The goal is to become someone your dog feels safe approaching again. None of this makes you a bad owner. It makes you human. It means you notice something quiet, and instead of forcing an answer onto it, you are learning to listen. A distant dog is not always rejecting you. Sometimes they are protecting their body. Sometimes they are overwhelmed. Sometimes they are confused, tired, unsure, or trying to communicate in the only way they have left. Behavior can help us understand welfare, but it has to be read with the whole picture, not one isolated moment. Not guilt, not panic, just attention. And if the change is sudden, lasts, or comes with not eating, pain, low energy, avoiding touch, or unusual withdrawal, speak with a veterinarian. Love is not only calling them closer. Sometimes love is becoming calm enough, patient enough, and safe enough that one day they choose to come back on their own when they are ready again. If this gave you even one new way to see your dog, leave a like, not for the algorithm, as a small promise to pay closer attention. And tell me in the comments which of the 7 reasons made you pause the most. Was it the body, the environment, the silence, or the idea that distance can be a message, not rejection? Because that is what Mr. Hidden Mind is about. Not guilt, not judgment, real understanding. We look for the quiet emotions animals cannot explain, the tiny signals most people walk past, and the hidden needs behind what looks like simple behavior. So subscribe and stay close to the minds that cannot speak but still hope we learn to listen. One gentle choice at a time, every single day, starting now.